Oh, hello and welcome to the Gov Shack. So happy to have you all with me this evening, right? A little bit after 7 p.m. on East Coast. Crazy day, trying my best to move so much stuff forward. And boy, has it been challenging. Lots and lots of phone work, meeting people, chatting with people, setting up different meetings, and then traveling this weekend. So I'll be traveling this weekend on top of it, trying to look for more people to get on board. It has been very challenging is what I would say. Very challenging. And the establishment does not want me to do it. The establishment is still pushing me away to the best of their ability. And boy, they are good at pushing people away. That is one of their skill sets. I will give them that. The hardest part when dealing with this is dealing with people who have just given up, right? Dealing with people who have just surrendered. I think that is one of the hardest parts. And they like talking and chatting, but then I say, okay, so how can we help? How can we move forward? And they go, Larry, look, I'm just waiting to get out of here. You know, I get it, but nah, it's just not going to work. And that is, I think, one of my biggest challenges is dealing with that piece because I keep fighting. And I don't want to hear people who tell me that it's not going to work or it's tough. I don't want to hear it, but we have to keep going. Anyway, guys, if you would do me a favor, click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Give me some love. I could use some. I'm giving it to you to the best of my ability. So try to give it back if you can. And Liberty India Kilo Echo is a very simple way of doing so. So please do that. If you want to share this someplace, please share this. If you would repost this in some other place, it'd be great. If you have not already subscribed and or followed this channel, please do so. Every little bit counts. Try my damnedest to make this thing work. So please jump on board if you would. And if you want to help out directly, yes, you may directly do so. If you want, you can do so by donating if you want to. LarrySharpe.com/donate. That is always the best way to assist. But if you've already given, you can't give any more, no worries. LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. We are going to be starting our petitioning drive next week. Yes, the drive for petitions begins next week. I think, is it Thursday, Friday, something like that. It does start next week sometime. So we have to work on it. And we're going to put our paperwork together and show up and help us out. And let's get some stuff going. It is important. We have to make that happen. So if you can do so, please come volunteer. If you want to do a quick super chat, you can also. LarrySharpe.com/super chat. The problem is super chat may not be read out today. Depends on how it comes in. Sadly, it isn't up to us. The normal super chats don't work here because this is a political campaign here. It's not Sharpe way. It is Larry Sharpe, so separate. So see the background. So it comes in different timings. So let me give you a super chat from before. This is let's see. This is from Sarah. I'll read it out here. Just a shout out to the Sharpe community for being so committed to hope. The podcast Larry joined recently reminded me how so many potential voters have opted out. Exactly correct. Yes, they're wallowing in pain, commiserating. Yep. Whining. True. She's not wrong. I get it. I've been there. There was so much evil. I'm grateful the Sharpe community is so positive. Guard your light. Keep it from burning bright. Keep it burning bright. Yes. Look, some of you will sometimes watch me on other shows. And one of the things you'll recognize is in this show, the chat relative to others is not negative at all. I mean, we have some people get upset. Back and forth happens. Generally speaking, when I go on to other shows, particularly for some reason, left-leaning shows just hate me. I go on a left-leaning show. They don't even know who I am, or maybe they have an idea, whatever. It is just insult, 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 insult. And I think to myself, what kind of show do you have where the people who flock to it, if you don't agree with them, just immediately go to insult, insult. And you might go, well, Larry, there's always a jerk. There is. We get them here too. Sometimes you get someone who's going to be mad and insult. It happens. But it is 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 people just insult, 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 insult. I'm like, man, you're spending time to type insults. Oh, God, that'll teach them. Okay. But the problem is, without question, it becomes challenging because those people will often turn the people off. Those people, why do you think people don't do this? Think about it. You're saying to yourself, well, Larry, I want to go run for office and make something happen or be an activist and get something done. And if you say the wrong thing, you have dozens of people literally just publicly insulting you. Why would you do it? Because you're crazy like me will be the reason why. Yes, because you're insane like I am. That would be the reason why you do it. Otherwise, I don't know why you would do it. It's literally crazy. So yeah, you have to really believe in this stuff. So yeah, a lot of that happens constantly. And as I do more shows, I will get more insults. I often tell you, running for office is just a series of insults. It's a series of disrespect. That's all it is. It's why. And the funny part is, when I first started running, I was actually nicer. Now I'm not as nice. I will often insult back just because I no longer care anymore. Like it totally bounces off me. I know they often think that, well, I'll get loud. Nah, you give me an excuse to be vulgar. So I guess good. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I do the best I can with what I get. So I do appreciate all the support you guys give me here, and that you guys are actually helping out each other, which is great also. And we have a very good back and forth where we don't just insult people all day long. I would rather you not do that. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. I covered all of that. Here's what I want to talk about today, though. What do people, and I'm focusing this kind of on New York, but what do people overall, to include New York, what do they want? Do they actually want change? Do they want revenge? Do they want rebellion? Do they want restoration? And I bring this up because there was a piece I saw on, believe it or not, Fareed Zakaria, where he brought this up. And I want to show you this piece because it made me think about what Fareed Zakaria, he is, when it comes to CNN, he's the kind of the international guy. Generally speaking, his data that he provides is usually on the money. He tends to know the details of what he's talking about. His answers are almost always garbage, but once in a while, I'll have a good take. It does happen here or there. It's a broken clock thing. So let me give you a little bit of what he's talking about here, if I can.
What do two striking political facts tell us about the mood of the world today? In Japan, Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has just won the largest parliamentary majority in the history of the long-dominant Liberal Democratic Party.
She just totally wiped the floor.
In Britain, Keir Starmer, who swept into office a year and a half ago, has sunk to the lowest popularity ratings ever recorded.
He is not, they do not like him at all.
On the surface, the stories seem unrelated. One leader rides a landslide, another struggles to stay afloat. But taken together, they reveal something deeper about the current political moment.
And that's the part I want to know, right? Is it right? Right? Trump could be Trump when at the right time. Obama could be Obama at the right time, but can you be the right person at the wrong time?
Voters prefer rebellion to restoration. Consider Britain first. After the tumultuous premierships of Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, and Rishi Sunak, years marked by Brexit aftershocks, ethics scandals, fiscal panic, and revolving door leadership, Starmer offered something different.
And I think that's true. So there are times when we could actually want stability just because we're actually so bothered by instability, if that makes any sense, right? So we're actually rebelling, going back to stability in a way. I think it could happen. I think part of that is why people wanted Biden. Biden was the ultimate instability. Well, sorry, should have been. He portrayed himself as being the ultimate in that. So I think maybe that's what could be happening here.
He was the keep calm and carry on candidate. He promised seriousness, stability, and competence. He would rebuild institutions, appoint capable ministers, and restore Britain's standing abroad. He would handle America's volatile politics with quiet firmness. No drama, no ideological fireworks.
But I don't think we want that. I look at so many of the political channels now, and they've become basically gossip channels, right? They're now gossip channels. Rarely do they talk about actual policies. Rarely do they talk about what's actually happening. They basically talk about what I can't believe he said that. I can't believe she said that. He said this, she said that. They become gossip channels. So I get what Fareed's saying, and maybe there is a place for when people want to have the calm, cool, but I don't think that's now at all. I think people kind of want blood sport. It sounds horrible, but I think they want someone who can say, no, yes, do this, do that. I think they want to hear that more than anything.
Just adult supervision. And by conventional measures, He delivered. Market stabilized, cabinet government returned, policy was sober and incremental.
But here's the problem. I think he's not wrong in what he's saying. The problem is going back to normal. The status quo sucks. The status quo is we are unable to pay our rent, meaning as Americans, we are unable to find girlfriends, boyfriends. We are unable to get a good car. We are unable to get good education. We are stuck getting massive debt. That is what the norm is. So, okay, great. It's back to norm, but norm sucks. So maybe I'll take some instability. Like maybe I'd rather just have the instability piece. Could it be that? I'm not sure that even going back to norm is a win. And I'll go one step further. Right now in our current political world, victory isn't me winning. Victory is the other losing. So if I can sit there and go, see, if I'm a Democrat and I go, that conservative, we got him. Boy, he looks terrible. I go, I won, but I still can't pay my rent. Right? If I'm a Republican, I look back and go, we own the lib. Yeah, they look stupid, but my kids still can't read. We're at a point to where that's what matters. And there's a second piece, though, and that is the most recent scandals, because I'm on YouTube, the EpiPen files, the E-files. That scandal, I think, makes so many people feel like, I can't buy a new car, but they can fly in minors and have their way with them by the dozens. I'm doing everything right and I can't buy a new car. They're doing the most horrible things we can possibly imagine, and they're buying multiple jets. Is status quo what I want? Maybe I do want wood chippers.
Yet the public mood did not follow. Dissatisfaction lingered. Within months, Starmer's net favorability ratings plunged into deeply negative territory. The promise of seasoned competence took a blow when...
I think it's happened before, though. See, this is the issue. A lot of people who are talking about this, he has experience and she's been around, blah, blah. These are people who are privileged, right? If I'm doing really well and I've got my third house in Florida and I can fly down and go on vacation whenever I want, and I own my home outright, I don't have a mortgage or rent, my kids doing fine. I mean, maybe they'll be sure, but I have enough cash where I can, take care of my kids, whatever. Status quo sounds great to me. Status quo sounds amazing to me because it's treated me great, which is a whole lot of boomers right now. A whole lot of boomers like, can we just have status quo? Because I do have my third house in Florida because I'm a boomer, and I am writing checks to my kids because I can afford it, and I'm doing fine. I have assets. So it sounds like when someone says it, restore to the old time, make America great again, go back to, it sounds like, okay, back to when like my mom could own a house, my dad could own a house. No. It's going back to where we just have slow decline, and most of us struggle.
One of Labor's most prominent figures, Peter Mandelson, long seen as the ultimate insider, faced renewed scrutiny over his past ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Bingo.
For many voters, that episode reinforced a suspicion that restoration meant the return of the same interconnected elites they had already rejected.
Bingo. And I think that's what happened when Biden came back. I think a lot of people thought, oh, well, now Biden's back, so now it'll go back to being good again. That's what'll happen. Boy, were they wrong. But I think a lot of people bought that story. I think a lot of people did.
The deeper problem for Britain is structural. Immigration has been the rocket fuel of populism across the West. Britain recorded net migration of nearly 950,000 in the year ending in March 2023, an astonishing figure for a country that had voted for Brexit partly to take back control of its borders.
yes, one of the reasons why people voting Brexit is they thought, hey, I can't win here, and I see these other, and you can be mad at that all day. I get that. People don't know, well, they're still, I'm not saying not human, stop. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that when I'm in trouble and then I see someone else come in new and they seem to be doing fine, of course I feel bad. Of course, that's human nature. To say that's, the horrible R word is just someone being angry. It's just an insult. It's not true. It's human nature, right? I'm happy to have you come in and do good as long as I'm doing good. But when I'm not doing good, I go, well, what? How come you get to come here and do good? And a lot of Brits showed that. They were like, well, I want to do good. I don't want these other people coming in. And this wasn't even just brown people as well. This was like Poles and Ukrainians and Czechs. It was even that. So, yeah.
Cosmopolitan elites appeared in many voters' eyes to have mismanaged the issue.
Yep.
That sense of betrayal has not faded. Add to that Europe's long flirtation with austerity. After the 2008 financial crisis, Britain, like much of Europe, embraced fiscal restraint. Spending was squeezed, public investments cut. And
people suffer of 2008 in America too, and the only place where there was actual any recovery was in some cities. That was it. For those who don't know, after 2008, 80% of all new jobs in America were in 20 U.S. cities. 80%. If you were outside of a city, there was basically no recovery. There's basically been no recovery when it comes to outside of cities from 2008. None. You've just watched the devastation of 2008 go, and then 2020 lockdowns was the final nail in the coffin. Destruction of everything outside of cities, and now finally cities too.
Real wages stagnated for much of a decade. GDP per capita lagged far behind the U.S., which opted for much larger stimulus packages during the recession. The result was a slow burn malaise that eroded trust in the political class. Now look.
It's still true. It's still true. And what there are so many bad things to the e-files. And what I mean by that sounds obviously, it sounds like I'm being honest, but I'm just saying there's so many things that aren't obvious, like clearly the horrible victims. That part's obvious, but outside of the obvious, just horrible victims, the utter distrust that we already felt. Now, many of us thought, man, the people who run this country, they're jerks or idiots or they're bought and paid for. Most of us, some of us did, but most Americans didn't think, no, they're monsters. Now we think, no, these guys are monsters. Like, they're not just jerks or bad guys or psychopaths. They're monsters. How does that, it makes you not trust any of our institutions. And while it's not that I want us to trust our institutions, but when there's no local community institutions to pick up the slack, then there's no institutions at all. We don't even have community to fall on. Do we require institutions to be happy? Okay. Do we require government institutions to be happy as humans? No. Do we require social institutions? We do. They don't have to be government, but we do need institutions, whether it's a community, local, family. For us to be happy as humans, we are social. We require some type of institutions, prefer that we voluntarily agree to, which is not government, obviously, but we do require some of those. We don't have them locally. So now when we lose them nationally, what do we have? Lost people. Just lost. And that's hard.
Japan. Takaichi ran not on managerial calm, but on confrontation. She spoke in fiery tones about immigration, even though Japan's foreign-born population hovers around 3%.
Yeah, for those of you who live in Japan, Japan is not a country huge in immigration at all. It is very homogenous compared to most countries, right? It's very homogenous. Recently, they've had more of immigration push, but just nowhere near as bad as other countries when it comes to that. So for her to be fiery, that's like us in America, back 250 years ago, getting pissed over 3% tax and like, all right, we're dropping people now. Come on, 3% tax. Okay, somebody's eating lead, right? That's how we were back then. That's how the Japanese are now with this. But I got to tell her, she was hooping and hollering, and it was working.
a fraction of Britain's. She warned of cultural erosion and social strain. She took a harder rhetorical line on China. She promised disruption in economic policy after decades of cautious incremental.
And that's the piece that Trump has done poorly. He did not do that part. This is what she did very well, and so did Malay in Argentina. If stuff's going to be tough, you got to tell people. It's what Biden said he would do and never did. Remember Biden always said, oh, I'm going to come straight and tell you the truth. Remember all that lie he said? Yeah, that's what he said he was going to do. And that's what he should have done. Trump should have also. Trump was too busy talking trash and didn't go, look, these ideas I'm talking about, they're going to take time. This first year, it's going to suck. And AI coming, it's going to suck too. But give me time and then this and that, assuming that was his plan, that he was going to, try to use the tariffs to bring back manufacturing. That takes time too. That's not 5 minutes. That's at least a couple of years, right? Malay did it very well. So did she. Sana, I think's her name. She did it very well too. Yeah.
The electorate rewarded her with the largest majority the LDP has ever received. Part of the appeal is symbolic. Japan remains by global standards a patriarchal society. A woman leading the government is itself a rupture.
True.
The image signals change, even if the party machinery beneath remains intact.
True.
In an era hungry for novelty, symbolism carries power. There are real differences.
I tell you this all the time, and a lot of you who are really policy wonks, and some of you really are, symbolism, rhetoric, emotion, it's not the only thing, but to discount it is silly. It does matter. Rhetoric matters. Emotion matters. Symbolism matters. All of it matters. And obviously, so does policy and outcome, of course, but all of it matters.
Differences between Britain and Japan. Japan never experienced immigration on the scale that destabilized Western politics, nor did it embrace austerity in the European style. It did suffer from economic stagnation in recent decades that caused unease, but the causes and effects were different from the austerity-induced stagnation that fueled Western anger.
And that's true. We're supposed to grow and be great. Let me grab a couple of comments. Just a comment. Let me grab a couple of these if I can. Nosy says, RFK was the most transparent candidate I've ever seen. Agreed. And he was brilliant on this, right? He's made errors too. Don't get me wrong. He's not perfect, but he was brilliant on this. The second the e-files came out, do you remember what he did? And I praised him then, and it was right then. It was the right answer. He immediately came out and he said, hey, here is when I was on the jet. Here is who was on it at the time. Here is where we went, what we did. This is what happened. He just came right out and just said, that's it. This is what I did. Here's where I was. And at first, oh my God. And then forgotten. Now, no one's connected him. He's in the files too. He was on a plane too. No one cares. Why? He came out. He came clean. He said, this is what I did. This is how it worked. Here's who was there. Ask them. That's what happened. And at first, it was a bit of shake up. Then done. Done. Every time a scandal came out, the bear, he came out and said, yep, did it. Yep, it was me and the bear. I did it. Remember the whale? Yep, me and the whale. Whatever. I know. I was a surrogate in the media. I had to go deal with those issues. So absolutely. Nosy goes on to say, yep, he owned his flights day one. He did. Day one, he said, yes, I liked his planes. They were cool. And when he offered me a flight, I said, yes. Got it. Initially, it sucked. After that, totally good. Totally good. That was the right way of doing it. Look, obviously, not great. He was hanging out with him at all, but the hiding and the scandal, the cover-up is always worse. Yep. Typical Wise says exactly. People hate when things are hidden from them. Yes. The only way we are going to be able to ever get any kind of trust in government ever again, it will be radical transparency for years. It must be years and years of radical transparency, then maybe. But without that, there's literally no way. There's just no way. Brana in the house. How are you, Brana? I'm not familiar with Fareed, but he bores me so far. Lol. No, he is boring. But because the good thing about Fareed is Fareed, if again, all the stuff I listen to and I watch, I spend a lot of time while listening and watching. Fareed is literally mainstream, what the mainstream corporate Democrat thinks, right? However, to be forward, he will give real information and go and have a real back-to-back. He back and forth. He will do that. But like all the people he brings on, they're establishment people. They're like people from, I don't know, think tanks and such. But still, this is what DC and DC players think. Watching his show, you see what they're thinking. So yeah, but he's not excitement. That's not what he is. So yes. PJ says that's why we need state sovereignty and county ethics. True. Accurate statement. I think that's absolutely true. 100%. So Brana says, I think that's been the plan all along, Larry. No community that's forced reliance on the monopoly. Yes, I agree with you completely. I say all the time. The more we add government, the more we remove community. And as you remove community, people become reliant upon government. And what community can do well is actually bring you up and help. Government doesn't help well. Government services well. There's a big difference, right? A community, it's in their best interest, Brana, if you fall down, the community wants to pick you back up and get you back in action. Why? Because then I might fall down, and Brana, I need you back up so you can help me when I fall down. That's in the best interest. It is in the incentives of the community for each person to get back up and to produce in some way, to help in some way, to do something in some way. It's in the community's best interest. And it becomes a debt owed to each other. When it's government, it's in my best interest for you to never get up. Stay. I'll tell you something which I did a show on this. People were surprised. For those of you who know, the TV show, My 600-Pound Life. That is a show, for those of you who don't know. So I think it's on a Learning Channel, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a show about people who weigh over 600 pounds. And now there's like bigger ones, like 700, 800 is all. And there's like 1,000-pound sisters. There's multiple shows. And I think there's like 14 seasons. There's like 14 seasons and multiple shows, like my 600-pound life. And then there's the extended edition. Then there's the sisters. Then the 1,000-pound family, tons of them. And these people, they physically, many of them, not all of them, many of them physically cannot leave the room. They're so big, they can't leave their house, or it's a big deal to leave their house, or they struggle to leave the house. They can't work. It's impossible. They are physically too big to work. Many of them can't clean themselves, whatever. Wait a minute. You must have a decadent society. Well, haven't people always wanted to eat? Hasn't food always been an addiction? Yeah, that's true. What changed? Here's what's changed, Brana. What's changed is the government pays them to do that. The government services them. That's the difference. You take away the government handout, they can't do that. Why? To be very forward, they're so big, most of these people are so big, they physically cannot feed themselves. I'm not joking. They can't get out of bed to go make food. They can't. They're too big. That's why if you're 200 pounds of weight, you're probably fine. I mean, I'm saying fine. You probably won't be 200 pounds of weight, but you can still do things. If you're 400 or 500 pounds overweight, you're going to struggle to do things, right? And it shows about that. So these people can't get out of bed. They can't feed themselves. They can't cook. That's how big they are. They physically cannot cook. So they couldn't get that big. The only way they can get that big is if government supports them, because government also then pays their caregiver who keeps feeding them. So the person who's 700, 800, 900 pounds, that person has to be physically fed all day long. Well, who does that? Someone the government pays. I'm not joking. So the government pays someone to feed someone so they can stay in bed, and they feed that person, they can pay for the food. Without government, there's no 600-Pound Life TV show. You can't get that big without being serviced. Now, if the community serviced those people, the goal wouldn't be to keep them in the bed and keep the checks coming, right? Because the government validates itself by the amount of checks it writes. So it's valid. See, these people are hurting and we're servicing them. See, I care about them. I love them, Bruno. Why are you so mean? I love them. I'm writing them all checks. But if it was community, it'd be like, how do we get this guy or gal back in action in some way, shape, or form? There would be people to assist them. The person would feel bad. Oh my God, people are helping me and I can't assist myself. Not how it works. So yes, you're correct. 100%. That was a very long-winded way, Braun, of saying true. I could have just said true, but I gave you a story instead. I hope you enjoyed my story. Nosy says, those who run this country are monstrous scammers. Yes. Andrea says, we thought they were bad, but now we know how they are completely grotesque. Yes, it's worse. Like I never thought, Andrea, I never thought, the people in this country, they're amazing, wonderful public servants. I never thought that. But I didn't think they were just monsters. I didn't think they were monsters. And maybe it's not true. Maybe I just didn't want to. See, Braun, I'm still brainwashed. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that they were monsters. But whether I wanted to or not, oh no. They're monsters. Whether I want to believe it or not, doesn't matter what I want to believe anymore. My desire to believe something else is now utterly irrelevant. So, yeah. Anyway, let me grab a couple more of these if I could. A little longer.
These structural contrasts matter, but they may matter less today than atmosphere. Across advanced democracies, incumbents struggled at unusually high rates in 2024.
This is almost like no matter what, just throw the bums out.
A big year for global elections.
Yep.
Voters are restless. They're less interested in policy detail than in emotional validation. Restoration speaks to the head. Rebellion speaks to the gut.
Yes. Restoration speaks to the head. Rebellion speaks to the gut. They might say, Larry, why does that matter for you? Why are you telling me this? Because as I was saying how Bruce Blakeman, who, as for those is running for Republican for governor, how his campaign's totally wrong. It's a campaign from last cycle. It's not this campaign. It's the wrong campaign. He's running Zeldin's campaign again. I'm thinking to myself, am I too much in the head and not enough in the gut? Am I too much restoration and not enough rebellion? I mean, my saying is a new New York. So I want something new. I don't want to go back to the old ways, but I do want to make New York great. I want New York to go first. Is my rhetoric style not rebellious enough? Is Fareed right? And should I be more gut and less
in this moment,
brain?
The gut is winning. Japan's prime minister has shifted the vibe. Despite her party's long-time dominance, she projects motion, disruption, and defiance. Starmer projects steadiness and repair. In calmer times, that contrast might favor Britain. In this moment, it does not. Politics runs in cycles. The appetite for rupture may fade once its costs become clear.
Maybe.
But for now, in countries as different as Britain and Japan, the mood is unmistakable. In an age of anxiety, voters prefer rebellion to restoration.
So that's my question. When I saw that, I thought, does that affect this race? Is this about, look, I am always going to be a policy wonk. I want to fix things. So that's never going to go away. The question is, do I need to be less policy? I know it sounds crazy. And more just other guy bad. But see, that's the problem. They're all other guy bad. Or maybe, do I got to be more, I'm great? Ugh. I mean, I am, but as the point. Is that the point? Okay? Not the point, Phil. Not the point that I'm awesome. Not the point. Anyway, this is, I guess, where I'm talking. Maybe I should be. Some of you guys like when I'm spicy, but you guys like me, or you'll be watching, so you like when I'm spicy. Does the average person watching want me to be spicy? Is that the issue? I'm not sure. That is where I guess when I saw this, I was thinking maybe. Phil says, don't give up New York. I agree. Yes. Ymir says, Larry, for governor of New York, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that. D says, we have the best chat on Larry Sharpe with me. True. Absolutely accurate. Yes. Yes. Bronna says, I don't get it, Larry. The View, for example, most hateful woman on the planet named Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny. Makes no sense. They have any viewers. Well, no, I'll go back to, I've shown this before many times, right? I showed something the other day, and then very often I've used two people, and I'll give you they're both left-leaning for examples. And that is Hassan Piker and Crystal's oldest son, Kyle Kalinske. So those two, they just insult people. If watching Kyle's show, and I watch Kyle's show because he's very popular. Lots and lots of lefties watch him. Tons. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of lefties watch him. And basically what he does is he gets on his show every day and just insults Republicans and conservatives. It's just a series of insults. It's what it is. It's a series of insults. And he's good at insulting people. Like that his skill set on it is to insult people. And so it becomes basically just a gossip show. Did you hear what this guy said? I was joking, but I wasn't joking. Sadly, so many of these shows have become just gossip shows. Tim Pool is becoming a gossip show, right? These are all becoming, Jimmy Dore is becoming a gossip show. They're becoming gossip shows. So I think we want it. They're all becoming The View, but it's a different way of doing it. The View is a gossip show. That's what it is. I've been trying to not create a gossip show. And Bronna, it's not working. They have a whole lot more views. Maybe I should be a gossip show. Bronna, I have you on. You tell me about like some scandal you did like last week or whatever, last year. We'll make some shit up. We just make something up. You did something bad. And we'll just talk about your gossip. And maybe we'll get a million people watching. So I guess that is my concern. So to me, it makes tons of sense. People want gossip and they're getting it. You just said you're watching Fareed. Fareed's a policy show and you were bored. I'm a policy show and people must be bored. I hope not. I need more gossip. I think I've answered my own question. I got to be more gossipy. Can you believe? Oh, no, he didn't. I got to be that person. No, he didn't. Maybe that's what I do. So Ryan says, Larry, I don't insult people all day long. I only insult the AOC all day today because she gave me a ton of material. She does give you material. She does. You're not wrong, Ryan. She does give material. That is true. Yes. Nosy, nicely done. I don't waste my time insulting those beneath me, but those are the funnest one to insult. So, yeah. Those I kind of like. Those are the funnest ones to insult. So, yeah. PJ says, this New Yorker wants accountability. Me too. Me too. And you know what? One of the guys that makes me angry is Scott Galloway. Is that name Scott Galloway? Yeah. He's the guy who talks about the problem with young men and then just insults young men. He goes, there's a problem with young men. We got to help young men. And young men, why do you suck so bad? That's what he does, that guy. So I remember when he went on Bill Maher, and it was after the lockdowns, we realized how bad the lockdowns were, how the lockdowns just devastated us. He goes, look, we didn't know everything. We want some grace. And I thought to myself, grace. Okay. Are you telling me, and this is rhetorical, PJ, so don't get on my, it's rhetorical. Are you telling me, Mr. Galloway, that you recognize that you had no right to lock us down, that you were just scared, it was a knee-jerk reaction, and you've learned your lesson, and you should have never have done it because it was wrong and you had no right to do so? If you tell me that, I'm actually open to grace. If you say, look, no, I was scared, shame on me for doing that, I should not have done that, I had no right to do so, great. Let's have some grace. Let's have a conversation. Let's make sure it never happens again. I'm open to it. You're an American. We live in the same country. Let's have that grace. I'm okay with it. But right after that, he didn't say that. What he said, PJ, was, we didn't know enough. If we knew more. Oh, so you do have a right to lock us down, destroy our lives, and crush us, but only if the data and science is right. Then you have a right to just get rid of the Constitution, trash our freedom, you do whatever you want. Oh, yeah, no grace for you. No grace for you. None. He's a piece of garbage. But sadly, popular and rich and goes on cool TV shows. But still a horrible person. So, yeah. Anyway. Nosy says, keep in mind you can be judged by the company you keep. The question is, though, is it the company you keep or the people who you pass by during life? If it's the people I pass by during life, kind of unfair, in my view. If the people I'm hanging out with, you're right. You're right. One thing I'll give Bobby Kennedy Jr., there's not a bunch of pictures of him hanging out with Epstein. That's not a thing. All the rest of those guys, I said his name, hope I don't get canceled now. There's pictures all over the place, right? Him, it's, he had a cool plane, invited me on, I jumped on this plane and took a trip. Not great. No, not great, but compared to these guys, that's good. Fine. Fine. It's relative, right? It's fine. Yes. So there we go. All right. Phil says, I think the scandal shows a lot of rot. True. And it seems like a lot of politicians are spending more time getting their jollies at Little St. James than managing the country. Why do you want to manage anything, Phil? It's what I say all the time. There is no desire to fix anything. Why would they fix anything? If I fix it, I can't fight over it. So I don't want to fix anything. How can so many people who are literally running a country, running a state, running a county, able to run for office too? I run for office. It's all I do. It's crazy. So Amy J. for Congress says hate sells. I know it sucks. I wish you were wrong, Amy. I wish you were wrong, but sadly, you are not. You are not wrong. I wish you were, but you are not. So, all right, I'm grabbing some more of this if I can. All right, you guys doing a lot of stuff back and forth, and I appreciate that. So, and talking to each other with that too. There we go. Shelley says, my only full hope was in Christ, but I have hope with Larry. I'm in good company. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Typical says, Larry, I just joined and read the description before joining and immediately thought of the idea of how strong New York State militia was. New York is very different. But yes. Rona says, personally, I've never had much hope. I've always had expectations based upon actions, but very little hope. Hope moves people, Rona. It's hope is, it was the only thing left in Pandora's box, right? All that was left was hope. What does it say on the gates of hell? All the ye who enter abandon all hope. Hope is very human, right? Hope is what moves many people to I'm not saying it moves you, but if you are going to try to get other people to do things, change the world or change something, you can't discount hope. It's not going to work if that's your goal, right? If your goal is just to be right, discount whatever you want. But if your goal is to get other people to make change and do things, hope is a very serious tool and a very serious thing that people want to hear. What I see it. 2018, there were many reasons why 2018 was a good campaign compared to 2022. And one part of that, Bruno, was hope. In 2018, so many people had hope. There was still a lot of people who actually thought I was going to win. Even at the end, I was very clear that I wasn't going to win at the end. I'll tell you a story. Hope had me going. This is true story, Bruno. You weren't with me back in 2018. In 2018, when I first began the campaign, I actually began in 2017. I actually thought I had a chance of winning. I did. And you might laugh and go, God, you're silly. Which is naive. I thought, yeah, I got a chance. Why not? I could win. Jesse Ventura won in 96. I could win too. That's what I thought. Okay, why not? He won. I could win. That's what I thought. So I told people, yeah, I'm going to try to win. I'm going to fight to win. And that hope kept me going, even though I kept hitting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, because I was new. For those, if anyone's listening who was on my team back then, I watched it. I began that campaign in earnest probably around really August, September of 2017. It wasn't really rocking and rolling to probably 9 months later. It probably took 9 months before that campaign was actually like, boom, hitting it. We were struggling. We were doing good stuff, but it was all through guessing and luck and just seat of our pants and just grit. It wasn't because we were so awesome and so put together. We didn't know what we were doing. But that hope that we were going to win kept us moving forward. And we got some stuff done that no one thought we can get done. By the time the next summer came, we were a rock and rolling campaign. But it took us months to get there. And most would have stopped. Most did stop. Right? Most weren't. But we went rock and rolling. It was because of hope. And I honestly believed when I first thought that I could actually win it. I did. Again, you can call me silly. I don't care. Still true. I did believe it. Then what happened during that year, for those who don't know, the Republicans couldn't find anybody to run. Surprise. Yeah, because they knew they were going to lose. Cuomo was still governor then. He was still very popular back then. So no one wanted to do it. They didn't pick their candidate till like March or April, like maybe April or May. It was a long time. And there was no primary. They anointed a candidate in like May of like 2018. And I thought, oh, man, I still thought that maybe they wouldn't run anybody and it could be a two-way race, me against Cuomo, and I could beat him in debates. I know how silly that sounds, but I honestly thought that. So people say, well, why were you saying that? And then the totally broken people who were like, Larry, why'd you lie to us? I didn't lie to you. I believed it. I wasn't lying when I said I wanted to get into debates with Cuomo. I believed it. I didn't know anybody either. So people are like, you're a liar. I'm like, no, you're just so broken that you think that I'm some mastermind who figured everything out. Well, if that was true, why wasn't I rocking the world in 2018? Anyway, so I believe that. So by the time the Republicans started actually putting money behind it, I saw the money coming in. I was like, okay, all right, okay, I'm not winning. Okay. But then I still thought I could come in second. Again, I thought I could. I said it. If those who were paying attention, then my rhetoric changed. It went from I'm going to win to now I can come in second. All right, look what happens if I come in second. Look at that, because I thought I could do it. By the end of the campaign, when the Republicans had used their different style of polling and all against me, there's no way I could defend myself against it. I was outgunned in every way, shape, or form. I still kept fighting, obviously, because I don't stop fighting, but I was utterly outgunned by the end. And to be forward, I was already outgunned. I just didn't know I was outgunned until the end. That's when I was like, oh, I am utterly outgunned. Okay, now I get it. Then I'm just saying, look, I'll come in third. It's fine. We'll get ballot access, which was my overall goal, was ballot access. So I still got a win out of the thing, which is great. In 2022, after we had lost all those legal battles, after they had taken our party away in 2020, Libertarian Party of New York had no hope. It still has no hope to this day. Most of the people in the Libertarian Party had no hope. It's just still true. If they're not even watching, all they do is say this will never work. They have no hope. And that lack of hope means lack of volunteers, lack of donors, lack of people coming onto my show, lack of people showing up at events. Hope is a big deal, particularly in politics. So while it may not affect you much, it is huge in politics. Make America great again for the Republicans and hope and change for Democrats. Those are both hopeful statements that got people up and running and made people do stuff they probably wouldn't have done without it. They just sat home and whatever, watched Netflix or something, whatever the cool thing was back in 2016. So anyway, I went long again. All righty. Andrew says, the interesting thing is Biden promised a return to sanity from Trump drama. Trump promised a break from the same old establishment politics. Yes. True. Yes. Shelley says, hope is the expectation of things not yet seen. I see Larry making great changes, but listen to him. Most don't. Also true. Also true. Yes. All righty. We covered that piece already. I appreciate all this back and forth, guys. I really do. All right. Where was I? Okay. Well, Borna's got a lot to say tonight. I think he bores me because he's so monotone and no animation. Polar opposite of you, Larry. I like some spice. See, I throw a little spice in there. I do. Throw a little spice. Absolutely. Space Jason over Rumble says, you could add revolution to the title too. The favorability of communism keeps upticking. Valid point. Space, valid point. The favorability of yes. 2025 Cato, YouGov, 34% favorable among 18 to 29. You can see that every leftist protest in the past 5 years. I agree with you. Like, I literally, those you don't know, I listen to a lot of left-leaning podcasts and hosts, and every once in a while I still attend DSA meetings. You might go, Larry, how do you do that? I need to. Whether you like or hate the DSA, they just got their candidate to become mayor of New York, the largest city in the country. So love them or hate them, they're doing something right. And I want me some of that. I want to know what the hell they're doing. I want to know why they're doing it. I want to know how they're doing it. I want to be able to get a piece of that myself. I mean, they're doing something right. Whether you agree with them or not, doesn't matter. That they're being effective. So I agree. And a lot of the youth, they see that way. I've, you know what? Maybe I should use the word revolution. I've never liked the word because, but look, Ron Paul used it, right? Ron Paul revolution. Maybe I should. Look, I'm open to making a conversation. That's why I talk to you guys. I'm open to this completely. So, yeah. We'll see. All righty. Hold on. Brona goes on to say, I have a friend in Newfoundland. His neighbor fell while shopping. He, his wife, and some neighbors went and picked her up. His wife has been caring for her all day long. That's community. True. Yes. And the problem is what too many Americans now will do is go, I'll just call somebody. I have a program for that. Well, yeah, a program, true. But then they're going to make sure that person never leaves the bed. That's the program. Right? Because we want to make sure that's always happening. They're always staying in the bed. So I can keep the program going forever. So, yes. Typical Watcher says, my aunt actually had to to like basically act as someone's assistant to physically keep them from eating stuff. They shouldn't like actually fighting anyone that brought her food, like her boyfriend. Hold on. My aunt actually had to like basically act as someone's assistant to physically keep them from eating stuff they shouldn't, like actually fighting anyone that brought her food. Yes, the person who gives the food is called an enabler. So yes, you have to stop the enablers. Yes. So there we go. Bruno goes, that was a very detailed and accurate response, Larry. Thank you. You're welcome. I do try to give that to the best of my ability. I do. So yeah. All righty. Ryan says they are either monsters or incredibly incompetent. Just don't feed these monsters of midnight. Lol. Oh, yes. Oh, look at that. Gremlins reference. I don't think it's incompetence. I think it's, I saw, I don't think it's incompetence. I think it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? An apathy. Maybe that's what it is, right? So here I am, Ryan. I'm trying to go do something great. I believe that I'm going to become whatever. I'm going to become a congressman and change the world because I believe in liberty. So I go become a congressman. Then I show up in DC and I get roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. I try to follow the rules. The rules are made for me to fail. I can't get anything done with the rules. I then decided to try to become more popular, but they shut me out of media because I didn't build my own media up yet because I thought I was naive, Ron. I thought, well, no, because I have a good heart and I care and I have good ideas that people will support me. I don't have to do those kinds of things because the system's there to support me. I believe that naively, and I'm utterly wrong. And if I don't have my own system, my own money, my own machine, I get nothing done. I'm utterly screwed. Then they decide they're going to primary me. I go, please don't primary. I'm trying to get this done. I've quit my job. I'm trying to fix things. And they go, oh, so you want to play ball now? And I go, I don't want to play ball and get something done. Oh, so you want to play ball now? Well, let's get something done. What you want to get done? You want X, Y, and Z? We'll give you half of X. How about that? Come play ball. And me, I have a choice now, Ryan. Do I go back home, lose my primary, admit defeat, try to put my life back together? I probably should, to be forward, right? I should. But is that what people do? They get fooled. They get wooed. Or they just go, man, no one's doing anything. And I've heard this from so many people that sometimes, I was talking to my team today. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of inside baseball. Talking to my team today. And I was saying how there's some days when I'm doing phone work where I just want to quit. I'm not joking. I'm like, why am I doing this? The amount of negativity, black pilling, lack of hope I get sometimes, dismissiveness. And then I had someone close to me literally say these words to me. This true story, Ryan. He said, Larry, they're going to come out with your money again. I said, they always come out with money. They always do. He said, this time, Larry, just take it. I said, what? He said, just take it. It's true. The guy told me right to my face. He said, Larry, just take the money, man. He goes, we're all just taking the money. Just take it. Just sell out. Take the money. You busted your ass for 8 years. Just take the money. Take it and just, so what? Just take it and go. I know he was trying to be good to me. I know he was. Like, he wasn't trying to be mean to me. He was trying to be good to me. He was trying to. But it was kind of heartbreaking. I didn't want him to say that, right? I wanted him to go, don't, stay strong, Larry. Don't. That's what I wanted him to say. I'm not mad at him. He did what he thought was right. But when you hear that, I'm just like, I get it. Like, I can see how someone else who isn't as ideological as I am, idealistic as I am, and you guys know me, I'm idealistic. I am. It's true. I'm optimistic. It's true. I am. And who isn't that much to just go, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to take the money. I'll get something done. I'll just take the money. And then I'll just fall in line because it's just not worth it because no one else seems to care. And sometimes it seems like no one cares. And to people close to you start going, if everyone around you goes, Ryan, what are you, stupid? Why take the money, man? Look, nobody cares. What are you doing? Take the money. What are you, stupid? All your friends start telling you how dumb you are, you should take the money. a lot of people would take the money. That's all I'm saying. A lot of people would take the money, and clearly a lot of people do. So, yes. Anyway, I went long. I went long again. I have a habit of doing that. Chris says, radical rebellion doesn't work. Look how Obama tried to fundamentally transform America, and Trump hasn't done much to make America great again. Well, I guess the question becomes then, Chris, is do I have to have a different message for the race versus how I govern? I've always said I don't like that idea, right? Do I want to say, oh, okay, I'm going to talk trash, but then when I govern, I'm not going to be that person? Again, it feels like I'm selling out, right? Don't I want to be the same person when I govern as when I campaign? Don't I want that? Don't I want to have the same mindset, and don't I want to encourage the same for everyone else? Don't I want that? Or does it not matter? At what point is it worth it to make, like, what should I sell out for? Right? Well, is there something I should sell out for? Is there a level where, that's worth selling out? Is that what it is? So I don't know. Andrew says, your articulation of policy that can actually work in New York is what brought me to you from the start. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Maybe. John says, Larry, Blakeman's running the Maldonado campaign. You were a rebel before, you still are now. I think when you take the line, it will all but confirm your balance of rebellion/restoration. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Yes. Typical says, Larry is the greatest chance right now, I feel, because society is actually looking at the elections now. Also true. Yes. Also true. Shelley says, the view is like a car wreck. People just love to see. Yep. You're not wrong. Bronna says, I think people do want you to be spicy. It shows you have passion, which indicates you care. I like RFK, but he grates on my nerves because I see no passion, even when AI agrees with it, even when I think I agree with him. There's a difference, though. See, what RFK Jr. does well is he's been better at it since he got yelled at a lot. He hasn't been very good at projecting power. He's been very good at projecting empathy. That's been his skill set. Projecting empathy, he's been very good at that. Empathy isn't always exciting, though. So you're right. I try to produce empathy also. I'm trying. So yes, we'll see. Notice says, I think too spicy makes I look like an insulter. I'm not a fan of too much spice. I agree. I don't just want to be a guy who's always dropping like F-bombs all the time. So I agree with you. Yes. PJ says, seems that New Yorkers gravitate to the person with the most bravado, confidence, and WWE attitude. But the elections aren't legit. I'm not sure it matters for you. See, this is my point. I think people have been telling me this a lot. PJ, I am surprised how many people, and I'm talking like every week, people telling me this. They're worried about the elections. I hear it all the time. I have to copy. I gotta use a Trumpism, if I may. It's got to be too big to rig. It's got to be too popular. There have to be too many people watching. People underestimate the value of poll watchers. The people will only do shady stuff if they think they won't get caught. If they believe they'll get caught, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So yes, poll watchers. Yes. So, all righty. John says, Larry, when I see you at Freight Yard Brewing, oh, good. Be prepared to talk Micron. Yes, I will be. I said you brought that piece up. I will be traveling this week. For those of you who don't know, I will be out this week. Let me pop that up right now. For those of you who can make it, please come on out. Friday, February 20th, I will be at Freight Yard Brewing in Clay, New York, 7 p.m. on Friday. Yes, that is what John is speaking about. Saturday at 11 a.m., I'll be at the Cobleskill Diner in Cobleskill, New York. At 2:30, I will be at Jackson's Old Chatham House in Chatham, New York. That's on Saturday. Sunday, I will be at the West Shore Inn Steakhouse at 1 p.m. That's on Staten Island. And 5 p.m., I'll be at Sherwood's Beer Garden in Larchmont, New York. So 5 stops, upstate, and kind of Hudson Valley and New York City. So popping a bunch of them. So Clay, as in Onondaga County, Cobleskill, and then Old Chatham, Washington and Columbia, I think it's right. and then Staten Island, obviously, and then Larchmont is in Westchester. So please come see me if you can. All of them are free. I will be doing a fundraiser, though. The fundraiser will be the week after. That's the 27th, and that will be in Syracuse at the rail line. So that's a fundraiser. All of these events are free. Just come by and say hi if you want to. I ask always, if you can, please purchase something, beer, cup of coffee, soda, whatever you can, to support local business. They're all local businesses. If you are in a financial position to where you can't afford to buy a meal, please purchase a meal if you're in that kind of position to support the local business. I would appreciate it. So thank you for that, guys. And of course, I'll be live, just chatting, talking. Great. So, all righty. We walk down this road. Phil says Larry Springer Sharpe. Larry. I like that one. That's good. I love that. All righty. Okay. Let me grab that one. No, says Jerry Springer and Geraldo. And then the clip says, Larry agreed Trump needs to focus better messaging on domestic foreign policy, where there are online grifters that want to obsess over Epstein 24/7 is the only thing that matters. You know, this goes though, right? This goes into what I talked about earlier. What makes this bad is Trump trying to cover it. Him saying, don't talk about it. That's not working. Trump has made more errors his second term when it came to communication than the first term. He was a far better communicator his first term. This term, he's not communicated well. And the people around him have communicated terribly, right? If he wasn't concerned and he wanted to focus on other things, he should have said, here's all the EpiPen files. Or according to MTG, he is concerned that a lot of heavy hitters across the world are going to be affected by this. That's according to MTG. I don't know if that's true. I'm telling you what she says. If she is correct, and if that's what Trump's worried about, that these other people are going to be screwed over somehow and he needs them to get his policy done, whatever, if that's true, imagine how that looks when dealing with the people who are the monsters that they are. Now, if you're telling me, and maybe Trump's going to tell me this, maybe Trump would say to himself, and again, because it's not communicating, I don't know this, but what if Trump is saying, hey, yeah, these guys are bad guys, but if I don't get this stuff done, the damage to our country is even worse. And these guys aren't going to go away. So I have to work with them to get my, and I'm making this up. I don't know if it's true, but assume that's true. He could actually tell us that. He could say, look, I know you guys want the e-files out. I do too. I can't do it now. If I do it now, it's going to affect heavy hitters and they're not going away. I'm just not going to talk to them and we can't get this done. Assuming that's true. Then communicate that. The amount of people who be like, that sucks, but I get it. Now, don't get me wrong. People hate Trump, will hate him no matter what. They'll just call him names. They hate him no matter what. Doesn't matter what he says. He can't get those people. It's irrelevant. They're going to go online and call him names no matter what. I got that. But he lost a lot of independents, Nooner, a lot of independents who would have stayed with him. And he also has a chunk of them Republicans. Now, most Republicans are still with him, but there's a chunk that left. He could have kept that chunk and a bunch of independents. If that's the case, is what he's saying, right? People are saying that's the real issue. Okay, if the MTG is right, then say that. Whatever the thing is, his communication was terrible. His communication was, shut up. Not over children. I said this. What absolutely trashed the LGBT trans community? It was when the children were involved. You start adding kids, people say, no. Is there anyone who thought that the elites weren't paying professional women for services? Everyone thought that. Everyone knew that. Nobody's shocked by that. That's how that works. And men too. Sorry, men and women are paying professional workers for services. Of course they are. We all knew that. No one was shocked by that. But now you start adding kids. You start adding traffic. Now people go, no. That's a bridge too far. You can only push the American people so far. Once you start dealing with children, doesn't matter how it is. Once children get involved, Americans go, no, stop. It's what Americans do. He should have known better. Or around people around him, whatever. If not him, people, no. Mr. President, his kids. No. Americans are not going to put up with that. That is a bridge too far for them. We got to handle this. He didn't. And that's why people keep pushing. This is a communications failure by him completely. It's communications failure. And again, others have communicated better. So, yes. Nosy goes, I cried when I heard RFK was in the plane, but I exonerated him after he openly owned it. Yes. Exactly correct. Yes. Exactly correct. Yes. 100%. All righty. Let's see. Andrew says, we all know who's on the list. It's a long one. Too many people we know to be famous are complicit in it all. That's why I don't do celebrity worship. Yeah. Yes. You're not wrong. Okay. Shreya says, maybe you could rebel against New Yorkers moving out. The governor of California is defended in his moves that people out. The governor of California is defending in his moves that people move out. Make noise about it. Keep people money business. I try that. I think you're right. I do try a lot to do so. Yes, I try. It's challenging, but I do try. Yes. Ken says restoration of the state of New York is not rebellion. Good point. Lochka, how are you, my dear? Live for Govs. I appreciate that. Yes. Borna says, I wasn't knocking hope, Larry. I just meant it never seems to have. I never seem to have much hope. Maybe I'm mellowing. I do have hope you win this thing. The alternative is too depressing. Agreed. I'm with you. Yes. Absolutely. Typical says, hope is how you change society, man. A lot of people made it through prison camps because they had hope. Yes. People literally just die in some real emergencies as their brain just gives up hope. And what? Yes. 100%. Christy says, from what I've read, RFK Jr.'s second wife was longtime friends with Ghislaine. Oh, is that right? His second wife called Ghislaine for the airplane ride. RFK also flew on Trump's plane too. Yeah, he liked when people said, "Hey, want to fly private?" RFK was like, "I'm in. Yeah, I don't care if you Epstein. I don't care if you whatever. Yeah, Trump. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I think that's true." Chris says, "I still remember your debate with Molinaro in 2018, where he totally stole your status quo line." That's right, he did. I remember that. Yes. John says, 3 things truly broke your 2018 campaign. The ballot was so disjointed. True. And clearly was designed for total chaos. Yep. Republicans trashing the media and a total corporate media blackout. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. D says, these effers, they say that Louder departed on 22 and lost ballot access. They can sit on and rotate. Most of them say that from a computer board outside of New York. You know the part about that, D, and this is a personal issue I bring up. I take responsibility for the failure of 2022. I trusted people I probably shouldn't, not probably. I know now I shouldn't have trusted. I gambled a lot because I saw how hard this was going to be. If I had not gambled in 2022, I would have lost. If I gambled, I might have won, but sadly I still lost. So the option was don't gamble and lose, or gamble and maybe win. I chose gamble and I lost. I paid for that. And I accept that. And to be forward, I live with that the rest of my life. And people always talk shit about it until the day I drop dead. It never goes away. The mistakes I made are always with me, always. And I love how Bill and he hurt us. No one got hurt more than me. So for all you people who got hurt, no one got hurt more than me. No one remembers what you did. They remember what I did forever. So yes, the thing that used to bother me, and doesn't anymore, but it used to, is when they would say, Larry lied to us, or Larry's a grifter. Larry failed. True. They're not wrong. I did. I let the party down. I did. It's true. But then what was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to go, we're probably not going to make it? Nobody would have cared. I had to go, we can do this. I had to be hopeful. I had to provide hope. Otherwise, it couldn't have got done. So I did. And as you guys know, I was $40,000 in debt at the end of that campaign. And I got an ass whipping. If that's me grifting, I'm the worst grifter ever. Why would I lie for that to happen? I'm going to lie and I'm going to fool you guys into me getting my ass kicked. See, I taught you a lesson. I'm a really bad grifter. So, but yeah, I accept it. I think people just mad and they want to blame somebody, so they blame me. Look, I put myself out there. So when things go successfully, I take credit. And when things go poorly, I take the blame. It's how it works. So yes. Camille says, Larry, people want you or someone to fix all the problems overnight. True. And they don't want to commit to the process. They won't even vote for anybody outside the Democratic Republican Party. What else to say? I think that's normally true. I have to break that. That's what I would say. I have to break that. That will not be easy, but I have to, or I have no shot. So you're not wrong, but I have to break it. Yes. So, okay, let me keep going down here if I can. Shreya says, stop the movement from New York. Too true to be silly. I think we can, though. And it goes back to that hope word, right? If people have hope, they'll stay. Most people who leave New York State don't want to leave New York State. They want to stay. They have no choice. They feel like, I can't survive here. So they leave. But if they had a choice, they would stay. So, yes. And it says, we love you, Larry. Thank you, Andrea. I love you guys back. I do. Absolutely. So, all righty. Shreya goes on to say, restore the Empire State. Ooh, there we go. I like that. There we go. All right. All righty. So, Lunatic, stop getting me in trouble, Lunatic. Lunatic starting trash. Lunatic, stop getting me in trouble. He's in the house and walks in the door starting trouble. That is him. Yes, absolutely. Rona, I love that you often refer to empathy, Larry. It's sorely lacking all honesty. It is. It is. Absolutely. And the issue is, but the problem, though, is some people project false empathy, and some people use empathy to manipulate versus to understand. So I try to use it to understand. It's why I don't get so angry when I watch like people saying crazy stuff on hard left and hard right. I don't get so angry because I'm like, okay, I see where they're coming from. So Phil, there we go. Yes. My point, Phil, read my mind. Bill Clinton used empathy cynically, but effectively. True. Yes. Yes. Nosy says, I wasn't crazy about you running for the Republican line at first, but I think it's the best way to go now. I feel like it's the only way to go now. I'm with you. I'm with you. And I know because as I'm talking about it and seeing people that are coming back, like I'm seeing conservatives and Republicans, they're coming back to me. They're coming back again. Yes, absolutely. So let's go. Any trips around Rockland coming up? Yes. Yes. Hold on, my dear. I would love to see you. So please come out if you can. Let's see. What's the closest one? Let's see. Westchester, February 22nd, close. And Orange, close on March 1st. And then, yeah, that's probably the closest one I got right now. Yeah, that's probably two close ones I have at the moment that I currently have scheduled. There will be others. Sullivan, kind of close-ish. That's going to be April 26th. So that's all I have right now. But I will have more coming up. So at the moment, I have some nearby. So any of those, as they pop up, I'll let you know. Right? As they pop up, I will let you know. So Westchester, kind of close. That's coming up here. So a little bit of a ride for you. So, all righty. Let's see here. John says, honestly, PJ has a point, but you did channel a little WWE in 2018. You referred to the Republican as the sacrificial lamb, King Andy, and now Queen Kathy. That's part doing you. And now it's Blakeosaurus. So I'm kind of there. Yes, a little bit. Yes, a little bit of that. So I guess it is kind of it. Guys, I'm going to ask a favor of you, please. I know I keep asking it to ask again. Click the button known as like. Get this thing shared out in place if you can. Repost this, reshare this out there if you can. Every little spot you can put it into is going to help. It does matter if you can. And of course, again, if you do want to see me in New York, you can see me. I do want you to pop on out if you can. For those of you, head over to my, it's on all my social media. You will find this little poster which tells you where to go on Friday, 7 p.m. in Clay, Saturday, at 11 in Cobleskill, and 2:30 in Old Chatham, Sunday on Staten Island and in Larchmont at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. So different times, different days, different places. If you can make it, please come on out. It does matter. Again, all I'm asking, you don't have to pay. This is free. I'm asking you, please, if you can buy at least a cup of coffee or a soda or something, if you can. If you can't, just put your butt in a chair. That's fine. Your butt in a chair does work, but I'd like you to buy something if you can. If you're in a good financial spot, please buy a meal. If you can, please do so. Help out the local place if you're in a spot where you can afford it. That would be amazing. So helping out the local area is what I'd like. So if you can do that, please do so. I would love that. And again, this is a fundraiser. Guys, if you can give, please give. You can donate at LarrySharpe.com. If you live in New York State, it is going to be matching funds. 6-to-1 matching funds. I'm still literally over 2,000 donors short by the number of donors, still over 2,000 donors short. So here's my request. If you want to be good and throw me some bucks, you say, you know what? My household can give Larry $100. Awesome. I'm glad you can. Can you get 2 people in your house to give $50 each? Because now I get 2 donors versus 1. Larry, I can only give $50. Okay, great. Can you have 2 people, each one give me 25? Is that something you could do? If it is, that is more helpful. And as long as the person is an adult and a New York State resident, those 2 things, an adult and a New York State resident, we are good. If you can do so, that'd be amazing. So whatever your household can afford, if it is possible, if you got 3 adults in here, you got, whatever, hubby, wife, and elderly kid, can you do it by 3? Is that possible? That would make things better if at all possible. I do require 5,000 separate donors. It is challenging to get. So if you can do that, that is helpful. Please donate that way. The best way to donate is online if you can, because all the data is connected and it goes right to them and they go, okay, great. This person's right. Okay. And they will hook us up. So if you can do so, please do so. It is helpful if you can. If you want a super chat, you can. When a super chat comes in, it doesn't always come in right away. You can also volunteer if you want to. We are getting out there and getting signatures as of next week. So LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. Please hook me up if you can. I appreciate it. All right. Let me keep going down here if I can. All right. Logica says, okay, sounds good. I'm connected with Juan. Yes, Juan will be helping me put my Orange County one together. That would be perfect. Yes, that will be perfect. So yes. All right. Let me grab some more of these if I can. So many of these. I appreciate that. You guys keep going back and forth with each other, which is also nice. I love that part too. So, all righty. Where am I? I covered that piece already. I did cover that piece already. Okay. All right. Phil says, expose the E-class, expose the corruption, expose the Keynesians. E believed in fractional reserve banking. Boo, boo, boo. Keynesians love enslaving kids with debt. Dirty deeds. All bad. I agree. Yes. Okay. Rana says, I remember thinking years ago, while vehemently opposed to everything Obama, I could sit down, have a beer, and a combo with him. I never got that thing about Trump. That's a thing. People did like that. Yes. I agree. And before I go there, this is why, this is one of the reasons why I travel the state. People who meet me, they don't go, that guy's fake. If you don't like me now, you're not going to like me when you meet me. If you like me now, you'll like me when you meet me. I'm the same guy. Like, I don't change. I'm the same guy. If you like me now, you will like me when you meet me. If you don't like me now, you're not going to like me when you meet me. I'm the same dude. It doesn't change at all. And I do all my stuff live with no notes. So the stuff I say now, I'll say there too. So it doesn't change. And I want people to know that. I say this often, and I haven't said it enough recently, and I probably should say it more. I can have you think I'm wrong. I can't have you not trust me. There's a difference. If you think I'm wrong, you and I can still have a conversation. If you don't trust me, it's over. It's over. And that's the critical piece, right? So obviously, you're not going to agree with everything I say. But if you go, Larry, he's lying. He's just pandering. We're done. You're not going to support me. You don't trust me. If you go, I like Larry. He's right on almost everything. But no, he's wrong on that. He's way wrong. Like, I still like him. No, he's maybe I'll convince him later or something. Because you still trust me. So you're okay with it. You can let it go, the 1 or 2 things we disagree with, because you still trust me. If you don't trust me, one thing, not enough. That's the end. Nope. That one, I agree. Nope, because you don't trust me. So this is why I'm so insanely transparent. It's why I'm so open. I try to practice what I preach. I say, if we want to trust if we ever want to trust our institutions again, it takes radical transparency. So I am transparent. I give a piece of myself every week, at least once, if not twice a week. I take questions all the time. You hear me change my mind right in front of you sometimes. Again, I can have you go, Larry, you're wrong. That's fine. You and I can get over that, right? We can get over you going, Larry, you're wrong. We can get over that. We can't get over, I don't trust that guy. Can't get over that. Roy says, Epstein was not fringe. He was Trump's best friend. Those 2 things can both be true. Roy, I don't know. You could be Trump's best friend and be fringe. So maybe he wasn't fringe for Trump, but I have to believe, and if I'm utterly naive, then let me live in my fantasy, Roy. I am going to say that Mr. Epstein was fringe. I do not want to believe he's the norm in people. No, let me live in my delusion then. No. And he was Trump's best friend. Well, he's fringe. He was fringe if he's even I'm saying fringe. I'm just not going to accept it. Done. I don't care. I'm just not going to accept it. I'm not I'm not going to accept that he's not fringe. He's got to be fringe, or what are we doing? So no, he's fringe. Done. So, all right. Roy goes on to say, Bondi should have been held in contempt the minute she defended Trump's but the Dow. Well, I mean, it was 50,000, Roy. Okay. I mean, well, now it's not. So we can talk about it now, right? That's the rule. It's 50,000, right? That's the rule. That's the law, Roy. You're a lawyer. That's the law. If it's 50,000 or more, we can't talk about it. But if it's under 50,000, then we can. I think that's how that works. I think that's the law. I'm not a lawyer. You can tell me. I think that's the law, though. She's a lawyer, so she must know. So there we go. So, all righty. Walk down some of these more if I can. Typical says, how do you feel about nuclear energy? Do you plan to uphold current energy plans, or you've been expanding them? There are about a dozen spots in New York State that could take a nuclear power plant pretty clear right away within 2 years. We should put in 12 nuclear power plants, either thorium or modular, whichever works best and gets up fast enough. But as another thing, typical, I don't just want to have the government do it. That's a mistake. The government should lease the land out, and companies can put it in they want. Most companies who will put it in probably will not be energy companies, believe it or not. They will probably be tech companies. Tech companies will actually put it in, and I don't mind they put it in, but here's the rule. They put it in, and it is 50% owned by the local people who agree to have it in. If you don't want to have it in your facility, if in your municipality, you don't have to. But if you agree to have it in your municipality or your county, 50% of the ownership of the nuclear power plant is owned by the people. They have voting rights and also profit rights. So as the AI companies charge, they sell their energy out, when the profits come in, the local municipality gets cut of that in some way. They either can say create their own sovereign fund to pay for things. They can support a community bank, all right, a local credit union to give 1% loans to rebuild their main streets or to buy housing, whatever the case may be. They can do whatever they want with it. They vote for it. They can decide. It's giving local people control over energy, and therefore, of course, voting rights, control over AI if AI starts doing crazy stuff. So yes, 12 of them right now. Absolutely. All right. Nose goes on to say, people also read Larry's policies, and sadly, I believe many think his policies are too good to be true. Yes. Yes, that is true. All righty. Let me walk down those roads. So many of them. All right. Chris says, Larry, can you give some brief details about signature collecting, how it works, what we can say or not say? Yeah, you physically have a clipboard with a sheet of paper that says what candidates you want to be on a ballot. There'll be a specific one we'll put together this week and get out to you. You can either download it or we'll mail it to you, whatever the case may be. You have to go there. You have to witness it. It can be carried by anybody, but witnessed by registered Republicans. What does that mean? At the bottom of every sheet, it is witnessed by somebody. They sign a name saying, yes, these are people who were there. I saw these people do it. Boom, they witness it. That person must be a registered Republican in New York State. Or I think there's an exception. I think if you're a notary, I think we'll make sure we'll get the details out on the website. But I think if you're a notary, you don't have to be. I think there's an exception. You're either a registered Republican or a notary. I think that's correct. But either way, so that's who witnesses. It's a very simple way. You simply walk up and say, hey, my friend's trying to get on the ballot for 2026. Can you please do me a favor and give me a signature so we can get in the ballot? It's that simple. If the person asks details, tell them. Don't lie. Tell the truth. They go, who's the person? Oh, it's Larry Sharpe, blah, blah. Answer questions if they ask. Otherwise, get a signature and move on. That's it. Your goal is to get signatures. They fill it out. You make sure it's filled out effectively. If they did it wrong, you tell them, oh, no, you have to add this. What's this? Whatever. Oh, that's unlegible. Can you please, whatever, redo it, whatever. You just make sure it's legible and it's all good. And you're the next person. Hey, my friend's trying to get on the ballot. Can you get on? Oh, yeah, sure. Here you go. Or they go, no, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. Let them go. If the person says, who is it? You tell them. What's their policy? Tell them if you know. If you don't have to. You're just trying to get signatures. That's how it works. It's grossly simple. It is challenging because you get a lot of no's, and the people have to be registered Republicans. If they're not registered Republicans, signature does not count. Can you get it? You can, but it's going to be thrown out. So I wouldn't bother. So, yes. I hope that answers your question. So, all righty. Bronna says, when you become governor, I hope selling the plane and getting a mobile Gov Shack bus is still on the table. Staking it through the community. I have to. If I don't, I'll get nothing done. Remember, it'll be harder than when Trump got back in. A lot of people thought, well, Trump's in now, so now everything changes. Trump got in, but you still got the establishment there. Establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans didn't want Trump, still don't want Trump, right? Establishment Democrats, Republicans never wanted Trump. So he got in and they were still going to fight him. He wasn't going to be able to just snap his fingers and make things happen. He had to have a mandate. I will have to have one too. And part of that will be me staying connected to the people. If I don't, I can't get anything done. I don't have a choice. So yeah, if I want to be a one-termer who fails, then I don't do that. But if I want to actually make it happen, then yes, 100%. So Roy says, exactly. Someone can't believe you without believing you're right. Someone can't believe you without believing you're right. Okay. Oh, okay. Roy was going to say, politics is too much. I agree with you, but not enough. I trust you. True. Yes, absolutely. How else can we have a real conversation, Roy? Right? That's the issue. Absolutely. So, all righty. Lunatic says, can I just be the guy that visits all the roadblocks, then get them to play ball? You know, maybe. You've just made me rethink, Lunatic. I'm open to this idea. And I know what you mean. And I am open to this idea. You may be moving to New York, my friend. I am open to this idea. Yes. Absolutely. All righty. Typical says, yes, he was consumed by nuclear misinformation. True. Yeah, I've been talking about nuclear energy for years. I talked about it 8 years ago. I've been talking about it for a long time. Absolutely. It's the answer. It absolutely is the answer. There's no doubt. 100%. All right. Let's see here. D says, the one thing I learned with getting signatures for Eric Parker is not lead with the fact that he was libertarian. Yeah, I just say, hey, if some people care, some people don't. Please never lie to anybody. That only makes me look bad. It makes everybody look bad. Please never lie. But tell them what they want, what they care about, what they want to hear about. Some people may ask specific questions. Some may just want to know if he's independent. Some may care if he's more Republican, Democrat. They may care. And they'll ask you. Tell them the truth. They'll decide. But the goal is let them know you are not required to vote for them. You are allowing them to be on the ballot so you can vote for them if you want to. That's all you're saying. You are allowing the person to be on the ballot. That's it. So, yes. There we go. All righty. Michael Turek says, what are your plans to take on ORES and the DEC taking farmland from more pointless solar plants? Well, for you may or may not know, one of my advisors on my campaign is the one and only Alex Fasullo, who she is taking them on tomorrow. We had a call last week. Was it last week? Yeah, maybe last week. So chatting with her about exactly these issues. It is a huge problem. Nuclear power will help in making it not required, number one. But number two, as I talked about earlier in the show, I don't know if you were watching or not, I was talking about the idea that public comment doesn't have any power. Public comment should matter. If you're not talking about nuclear energy, people have to actually vote to have it in. You shouldn't just, DEC or RES shouldn't just be taking things without people wanting and agreeing to. But the second piece, we have to have an environment where farmers don't believe that this is their best answer. Most farmers, as you know, are taking the option, if they take it voluntarily, because they think it's that or I lose everything. We have to make it to where farmers, like people who've had a farm for 5, 6, 7 generations in this state, go, oh, no, I don't need this at all. I have many ways to be successful, many ways to make this happen. So I think that's the answer. The answer is there's no way I can know everything, Michael, obviously. But I have to have people around me who do know stuff. And Alex is probably the number one expert in that right now in the state. I can't think of anybody who knows more right now. I mean, it may be somebody, but if so, she would know. So even if she's not the most knowledgeable person, if that's true, she would know who is, or that person will come to her. So yeah, I think that's the key. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Michael. I do appreciate it. So guys, I'm gonna ask you one more time. Do me a favor. If you can donate, please do so. I'm gonna start. We start petitioning next week. As that begins to happen, you will watch more people get excited. Once we get into the primary, here's the issue. Getting into the primary means we're going to win. We are actually going to win. Why? If you look at what's happening now, there are a bunch of people in this state who don't think the establishment is the answer. There's no rebel. I'm the only rebel there is. So I get all the rebel votes. I get all the people who are pissed off votes. They all come to me, right? They all come to me. Blakeman's not going to Alex Vasillo, right? Neither is Kathy Hochul. They're not. I'm the guy they're going to go to. So I'm going to get all the people who are in trouble. They're all going to wind up coming to me. That's the key. Getting on the ballot matters. For those you want to help out, please do me a favor. Either donate or volunteer. Whichever one you can do, please do so. Particularly if you live in New York State. It's very helpful if you can do so. Please put your hands together and say, hey, a little bit of prayer. Yes, please. We can make this happen. It's going to be challenging. They're going to sue me. To be clear, when I submit those signatures, they will sue me because why not? They don't want me on. They will use lawfare to get rid of me. The establishment is the establishment. Some of you think, well, Democrat establishment is worth the Republican establishment. Republican establishment is worth the Democrat establishment. No, they're all establishment. They all suck. They're all bad. And they always want to make sure that there's one thing that no one has to deal with, and that is competition. So they are going to sue me off the ballot or try to sue me off the ballot. It's going to happen. We can win this. We have lawyers. We can win. The point is, if we have enough cash, we can make it happen. That's the piece, right? That's the piece. Roy says, fun fact, Blakeman lacks name recognition, yet his son's stepdad is one of the most recognized people in the world. True. Most people don't know that. But what actually happened is Bruce Blakeman's first wife left him, I'm not joking, for Paul McCartney. True story. So that's what we're talking about. It's true. Feel bad for the guy. I mean, I'm a good-looking guy, but could I beat Paul McCartney, particularly in his prime? Jeez. I mean, maybe now I could. He's old, so maybe now I could beat Paul McCartney. But back then, oh, damn, that's a tough. It's tough way to beat there, Roy. I'm just saying. I don't know if either one of us could beat that guy, Paul McCartney. I mean, he's a Beatle. That's a tough one. But yes, it is true. That's actually what happened. So that's true, 100%. So appreciate that. So we are going to make things happen. I hope you guys get behind me. Here is what I'm asking. Support me to the best of your ability, whatever you can do. If at all possible, do it monthly. That's also good. If you can do it monthly, it's very helpful, or volunteer either way. Guys, I'm going to be taking off. I'll be doing a Sharpe show tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, I'm not sure, but AMA on Thursday because I'm traveling Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will see you all very soon.